Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. You're in the Prog Corner. Today we're going to be doing an album review. Yeah, for the first time in the history of this channel, I'm doing album reviews on back-to-back days. And today, as promised, we're talking about the sophomore release from Kite Parade. The album is called Retro. There it is. There's the CD. They sent it to me, which was really, really nice. So, who is Kite Parade, and why am I bothering doing an album review for some band you never heard of before? Well, let me introduce you to one Andy Foster, a dude whom I had never heard of prior to last year when he dropped his debut album as Kite Parade. It was called The Way Home, and it was a really good record that featured Rob Aubrey doing the mixing and the engineering, drumming by Nick DiVirgilio. So here we are with album number 2, and it's the same type of situation here, where you got the great Rob Aubrey, who does all the big train stuff, working on the sound of this thing, with the great and powerful Nick DiVirgilio on drums on 5 out of the 6 tracks. Basically, this album is Andy Foster and Nick DiVirgilio with a couple of guest appearances. You've got Joe Crabtree from Wishbone Ash playing drums on one song. You've got some dude playing a Hammond solo on one song. There's a female vocalist on one song, but for all intents and purposes, this is Andy Foster, Nick DiVirgilio, and what an amazing record this is. You know, I heard the debut album and I liked it. It's retro prog. It kind of sounds like Spock's Beard and that kind of stuff. A lot of people have alluded to John Mitchell's work with like Kino and It Bites and Frost and stuff like that. I'm hearing more Spock's Beard and Pattern-Seeking Animals, even just a little bit of Big Train in there. This is definitely retro prog, so the album is very aptly named. And yeah, so it actually starts with the song Retro, which is a great introductory piece. It's rousing, it's up-tempo, and it makes me think of some of those other great keyboard-driven intro songs, Alive from Big Train, or Spark in the Ether from The Tangent. It's just got that same kind of real rousing nature to it. The song's under 6 minutes long, so it could actually get some radio play if we wanted to. The song is in G, so it's got a really nice feel to it with a lot of cool keyboards. I guess Andy doesn't play keyboards so well. Most of the keyboard work here is programmed and sequenced, so that's really cool. And then he plays guitar, he plays bass, and Nick DiVirgilio handling the drums, and it's a cool song. I didn't like it the first time I heard it because it's, you know, just kind of a basic rock song, but the more I listen to it, the more I like it. There's some really interesting stuff going on in this song. Next up is Speed of Light, and this one starts with like a countdown, mission control counting off a blast off, and all of a sudden I'm thinking of last year's Ryo Okamoto album, Myth of the Monstrous, and there was a song on there called Maximum Velocity, kind of the same song, but this one's actually better. I like this one better. As I listened to it over and over, what I was finding with this song, Speed of Light, yeah, it's got a funky, you know, little bass thing going on in D minor, but after the second chorus, you get a real nice prog instrumental workout, and it goes through a lot of really cool changes, and as it goes, I keep waiting for that chorus to hit, and here we are. It's awesome. It's really cool, man. Next up is a song called Wonderful, and Andy is joined by Pete Smith in writing this song. Yes, Andy wrote the music, and a dude named Pete Smith wrote the lyrics. Great lyrics. This song is a little bit quieter. Starts with the strummed guitar and F sharp minor, and Andy starts singing. And then as the song progresses, you get into the relative major, which is D. But what's weird is when the acoustic guitar comes back in, somehow we're in G sharp. I don't know how he does that. And then the song really builds. You get that really good chorus, and then you get the instrumental breakdown in G sharp major, and it just bludgeons you with G sharp, man, until that chorus comes back and you get a couple chord changes and they're so appreciated. And then it goes back to the G sharp pedal point, just pounding you with it. Almost like he knew that it was almost too much for the brain to handle. The song ends on an E major chord, and it just, well, it's a lot of really cool chord changes on this album, keeping my brain really excited, interested, and engaged. Next up is a song called Shadows Fall, and it's the second longest song on the album, clocking in at 9 minutes and 11 seconds. Starts with some church bells going. You're in G with some guitar work here. What's cool about this song is right where you least expect it, there's a sax solo, which is pretty great. Yeah, again, it sounds a lot like Pattern Seeking Animals. Somehow they work through it and we end up in F. And then somehow again, he goes through a bunch of different chord changes, ending up in G. Shadows Fall, really good song, really intelligently put together. I love really good, cool chord changes, and you get a bunch of those in this song. The penultimate song is called Under the Same Sun, and this is the song where Nick gets to take a break and Joe Crabtree takes the drummer's chair, and he does a fine job. You know, Nick DiVirgilio has probably the smallest, tightest pocket I've ever heard in my life. You know, the way he plays is just so concise, and every single hit is so perfect, and Joe plays a whole different style. His sound is big, man. It's a big sound, which plays into this song really well. It toggles between like a G minor and a G major. That's kind of the chord progression throughout here. And then during the chorus, you get this weird 90s plucky arpeggiated guitar, which really brings me into a different era, but it's awesome. And then you got the aforementioned Hammond organ solo that Andy had to farm out, and then he rips through a really good guitar solo in this song. Great song, but you know, I listened to this album like 3 or 4 times, and I really wasn't getting it. You know, I liked it, but I didn't love it. In fact, every night for the past couple weeks, I've been putting the headphones in, listening to this album, and I would promptly fall asleep. So a couple of weeks ago, I got the album. That's just been, you know, what's been going on. But then I decided, you know, maybe I should listen to this final piece. The long track is like 16 and a half minutes long, called MerryGoRound. And oh yeah, this is the best thing I've heard all year. I know the year is early. It's still very young, but MerryGoRound from Kite Parade, my favorite epic so far. Starts out with a little piano in A minor, and then you got some real languid, lazy kind of feeling stuff going on. The drums come in real soft, and you hear some keyboards, and then you get this incredible guitar riff that sets the whole song off. The whole song is built around this one riff, and it's so cool. Starts out in A minor, then you get the vocals, go around a couple of times, and then you get this really cool change from out of nowhere. Kind of makes me feel like the kind of trick that Neil Morris would play on you, where it sounds like a come down, then all of a sudden a real bright, happy acoustic guitar comes in, strumming away in B flat. I don't know where this guy comes up with these tonal shifts, but they're just awesome. And then at the 8:22 mark, you finally get the chorus. I mean, halfway through this 16-minute song, and they wait 8.5 minutes for the chorus. It's just amazing. After that, they kind of settle on G. And again, like I said, it started in A minor. Now we're in G, and that guitar riff that opened it up now appears in G, but with the saxophone playing it, man. And it's one of those moments, man. That's why we listen to prog rock. Right? We listen to prog rock for those moments, those come to Jesus moments. Pitchfork called it a come to Buddha moment in their, you know, insanity and hatred of prog. But it absolutely is one of those moments. That's why we listen to prog rock. When Andy busts out that sax, playing that same line the guitar was playing at the beginning of the song, yeah, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what I love about prog rock, is when stuff like that happens. And it usually only happens in the longer songs. You know, if you got a 3-minute track, if a theme comes back from the beginning, it doesn't have the same impact as, wow, I think I remember that from 10 minutes ago. So great, so awesome. I am now a convert. I am now a fan. Kite Parade Retro, the second album this cat's put out. It's on some weird label called White Knight or something like that. Apparently there's no vinyl available, but he does have it on streaming services now. So check it out. If you like the same kind of music I like, you will love this album. It is my favorite album of the year so far, I think. I really like the Riverside album too, but anyway, that is my brief synopsis of Kite Parade Retro. I hope you enjoyed it. I love you guys. Peace in the Middle East. God save the king. And remember, just remember, sometimes it's better to be kind than it is to be right. I'm gonna keep saying that until people start believing me. Peace.